Alright, welcome back guys, and welcome to this your first time here. I'm Vision Hero Boy Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm going to be going over my review for the 100 since Season 7 Episode 3, False Gods. Now if the 100 is something you're interested in, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That would see more 100 rated content from me moving forward. Now let's begin. Now we start off this episode with Clarke and Gaia both burying the flame and Abby's necklace. Now I really like this start to the episode, as you got both Clarke dealing with the loss of her mother and Gaia dealing with the loss of being the flame keeper and having to just coming to terms with the fact that she has to find a new purpose in life. So I really like that. I feel like this was a very good emotional moment for both of these characters. I feel like it could have been shorter, but it was still a good scene. Then you got Indra, who shows up as they're doing this, and she informs them that it's time and that they have to go see Russell and determine what they're going to do in regards to his execution in order to keep the peace in Sanctum. So I really like that. I like how Indra's getting a bigger role right now, so I really am enjoying that part of her story. But they end up going in to see Russell to talk about his execution with him and ask him, what kind of death he would prefer. I'm kind of mixed on this because I feel like they should have been the one to choose his execution, but at the same time, I like the idea that they give him the option. So overall, I'm going to say this was an okay moment. Either way, I did like it, and he decides to go out in a blaze of fire. So that's a very cool and interesting way for a character to go out. So that I really like that part of the story. Now, meanwhile, at the tavern, Jordan is acting as the representative for the faithful. Now this is kind of, I don't know, I don't really like Jordan. He's kind of an annoying character for me, and I don't know, I just don't believe his role. So he's trying to talk to these two faithful characters, and one of them is angry over the execution of Russell, as you could expect, and he storms off. And then you got Jordan, who ends up talking to this other person who's a member of the faithful, and she informs them that some of the faithful are planning to cause like a ruckus or something at his execution to get people riled up. So Jordan decides that in order to kind of stop this attack, he's going to go talk to Russell to see if he can help maybe calm them down. So he goes in to see Russell and bring him, I guess, a meal, and he tries to talk Russell into going to give a statement to his people to make them stand down so they don't attack or do anything that puts people in danger. And at first Russell is not compliant and doesn't want to do this and believes that it won't happen and that Clarke and them won't let him go through with it. However, Jordan ends up talking to him and I guess convinces him that Clarke and them are going to do better, and that they will give him a chance to speak his mind, and that hopefully that they can resolve this and not cause any more chaos that is already going on. Now, meanwhile, you got Raven, who realizes that there's an issue with the reactor that is powering Sanctum. So her, Murphy, and Amori go to check it out, and they find that 2 of the engineers who work on the reactor have died. We saw them die earlier at the beginning of the episode, and she realizes that they're in danger and that the reactor is melting down and they need to fix it, or everybody in Sanctum will end up dying due to the radiation. So she goes and calls a meeting with Clarke and Indra. Now, I really like her including Indra in the storyline. So she goes in and informs them that this is happening and how if they don't get it under control that they will all die. Now, she does mention that it's a dangerous mission and that it most likely could kill some people, and that she needs people to volunteer, and they suggest going to the Wanna crew to get them to volunteer. Clarke suggests they go to the prisoners, but Raven is opposed due to everything that they had done to her in the past, and due to the Nightblood helping them survive, she has already recruited Murphy and Amori. Now, Clarke does, volunteer, but Indra stops her and tells her that she's more needed with everything going on with Wanna crew and Russell, so she ends up staying behind while you got Raven, who decides to move on and go with them to try to recruit some members of Wanna crew to try and help them. So the group goes to meet with Wanna crew to tell them that they need their help in regards to the reactor. Now, Indra gives them a statement saying that Maddie, their commander, has called them to go forth with this task, and that she informs them that there is a possibility that some of them will die and that they are risking their lives in order to save the rest of the survivors. But you got one of the grounders, who goes up against her and questions her authority and questions what's going on with the commander, as they haven't seen her, and they just notice that something's been up ever since they returned to the ground from the ship. And Indra tries to reassure them that everything's okay, but however, this one grounder demands to speak and see it for herself from the commander. So Indra decides that they are going to get Maddie and have her talk to them and give them the orders that they need. However, before they can even do that, Clarke interrupts and says that she's not letting them go through this task, as she believes it's not good for Maddie, and I guess it couldn't mess with her psychologically. So Clarke demands that they don't go through with this method. So Gaia, thinking it would be the best interest of the group, she decides to tell one crew that Maddie is no longer the commander and that they destroyed the flame due to the Dark Commander, corrupting her mindset. So at this point, though, that grounder and the rest of them get even more mad, and at that point they disband and abandon Indra and the others, leaving them without any volunteers from one crew. And Indra informs Gaia that they have ruined the alliance with one crew. Now, realizing that they aren't going to get any volunteers from one crew, you got Raven, who decides to go forward with Clarke's plan to try and recruit the prisoners. Now, right at the moment, you got the prisoners who are questioning what's going on with them, as they believe that they're not being treated right and that they are being taken advantage of by the rest of our survivors. Now you got Hatch, who tries to reassure Nikki, who believes that they aren't being taken they're not being taken advantage of, and that they will get their fair share of everything that they've been promised. And he just tries to calm her down, which he's somewhat able to do in this time period. Now, then like I said, you got Raven, who shows up and asks them for their help in regards to fixing the nuclear reactor. Now, they both have their reservations. However, Hatch is the one who's more open to helping them and does volunteer, given the fact that he does want to help them. And you got Nikki, who kind of questions Raven's motivations, and she kind of wonders what's in it for them. However, Hatch again kind of reassures her and says that, they gotta do this and help the rest of the survivors. And at the same time, you got Jordan, who informs Indra and Clarke about the attack the Faithful are planning. Now, you got Jackson, who wants to go forward with the execution due to, Russell being responsible for killing Abby. However, you got Clarke, who has reservations, and Indra is saying that they need to, show that they are strong and not show any weakness. And Clarke decides to go forward with the plan that Jordan proposes in regards to letting Russell talk with his people in order to try and calm them down and get them to, stop the plans that they had, and just, try and keep the peace within Sanctum. Now, Raven and her team begin work on fixing the reactor. Now, once they get there, you got Murphy, who realizes that Raven isn't telling the prisoners the entire extent to the work that they're doing, and not telling them that they're being exposed to radiation. Now, Amori is able to get her part of fixing the reactor done by putting the rods in place. She does nearly get exposed to too much radiation. However, she is able to get out just to be able to get to safety in time, but does suffer some sickness from being exposed. Now, meanwhile, at that same time, you got Russell, who does make his speech before his members of the Faithful, and tells them that, they're peaceful people and that they shouldn't go through with this attack, and just to let him, go forth with the execution so that they can have peace within Sanctum. However, in the middle of his speech, he is attacked and shot at by one of the people of Sanctum, he is rushed away to medical, and a fight breaks out, which Miller and the others try to quell the chaos that erupts in that moment. At that same time, Indra and Clarke realize that they can't go forward with the execution, as if they do, Sanctum will erupt into chaos. Now, back at the reactor, you got Murphy, who is starting to suffer from symptoms of radiation exposure, and Raven soon realizes that more radiation is leaking out than they had originally expected, and some of Hotch's men are beginning to drop and die. Raven tries to reassure him that that's just normal, but Murphy decides that he's gonna take this moment and go help out Hotch, as he is slowly being able to get things fixed, but they need to work faster. So he goes in to help Hotch, and I really like this moment between him and Murphy. We get to learn more about him and Nikki and their background as to how they got arrested and what happened there. So I really liked it. I love Hotch as a character, and just this moment was one of my favorites from him. And you got Murphy, who's talking with him and telling him that, helping them fix the reactor will help him make up for all the bad things that he did. However, Hotch tells Murphy that there is no going back. You can't receive penance for what you did. You just gotta live with what you have done in the past. Now, in the process of fixing the reactor, however, they are able to fix it. However, you got Hotch, who ends up dying, which I was kind of upset about, because I really did like Hotch and I would have liked to see him survive. However, he does end up dying, which ends up really badly breaking down Raven, who finally breaks down and starts crying over the loss of Hotch and the rest of his men. Now, this is an area where I'm feeling contemplating, because at one point I understand Raven finally breaking down due to the loss of Hotch and blaming herself. However, at the same time, I feel like this should have happened a long time ago, due to the fact that she has killed so many other people throughout the series. However, at the same time, I can understand not, having those feelings and then finally breaking at this point. So I'm going to kind of give it a pass, but also kind of take points off due to just feeling like it should have happened a while ago. But then, as that's happening, Nikki shows up wondering what's taking so long, and she sees Hotch's dead body. Realizing that he died, she then proceeds to attack Raven, who tries to fight back, and you get just finally the two of them are fighting, and then you got Nikki's men who are with her finally break up the fight and take Nikki away, who's screaming and blaming Raven for the loss of Hotch and the rest of her men, which I really liked that. I really liked how they added that part into the story. Now, back at medical, you got Jackson, who is healing Russell, and he's asking him, if he has any regrets, or if he feels anything against all the deaths he's called regarding, the resurrections. Now, again, this is Shanhada, so he kind of, plays it off and says, yeah, I have regrets, and tells Jackson that. Now, in the midst of this happening, you got Indra, who shows up and tells him that he is going to end up surviving, and you got Shanhada, who tells her that he already knew that because he noticed that the guards have been missing, and that, how Indra's slowly losing control of one crew. So I really like that, how it's revealed that he can tell that this is happening, and that, he's smarter than Indra thinks. So I really like that. And in the midst of this, you got Indra, who also tells him that one of the faithful has come there to talk to him, and so she lets the faithful come in and talk to him, and she brings him food, and the two of them quickly talk, and it's revealed that the whole attack was a ruse, and everything went according to plan, which was where the episode ends. So that was very interesting to me, and I'm curious to see what goes on with this ruse and everything, and I'm just so excited to see what happens next. Now, if I had to give this episode a grade, I'd give it an 8.5. I really did enjoy the episode. However, I just have to take off some points regarding the Raven thing and some of the other things that I didn't like within the episode, but it was still a really good episode. So yeah, guys, that's my review at 100, Season 7, Episode 3, False Gods. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below and hit that bell icon. That would miss any more 100-rated content from me moving forward. And you go follow me on Instagram and Twitter, which I linked in the about section on my YouTube channel. As always, it's been Vision here with Boy Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.